Alright, welcome to Old World Gaming. It's a really busy week in news for Old World from the looks of things. We've got another article dropped this afternoon. Looks like it's a Chaos one. Old World Almanac, opening the Forbidden Arcane Journal, Warriors of Chaos. What's in the new supplement for Warhammer the Old World? Let's have a look, find out what we've got. Yesterday we braved the wastes to beseech boons of insight from two wizened seers upon a blasted moor in order to learn what the Warriors of Chaos are up to in the world of legend. Today we make that journey again, this time to uncover cursed knowledge from a forbidden tome. Arcane Journal, Warriors of Chaos. So I guess we're going to have a bit of an insight as to what's actually inside and what to expect. So let's see. Danny. There are two named characters in this Arcane Journal. The first, Golroch, is very similar to his original incarnation from the era of Karl Franz, a very powerful dragon corrupted by a greater demon of Tzeentch. The indomitable spirit of the ancient dragon continues to battle for control of its body and sometimes even wins for a bit. Unsure what else to do, he tries to destroy himself so he can't unleash his wrath on the world. JTY, we've tried to honour what made him unique, but we made him more reliable. When he first appeared in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, his rules were quite chaotic, and sounds like they think that's a problem. Anyway, I always felt that he was a lot of points to waste if you rolled badly and he did everything you didn't want him to do. So now Golroch becomes less effective when his spirit regains control, but he's no longer useless. And that's important when you're paying 400 points or more for a model. Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. Indeed, there's one thing to have flavour going on, but there's another thing to actually want it in your army. Okay, the classic model will be coming back in metal for anyone who missed out, though he has been slightly delayed from the initial release. His profile is not dissimilar these days, but modified appropriately for the new game, and he is a Behemoth. Behemoths are good in Warhammer the Old World, and he is now definitely worth his points. A big, powerful, terror-causing dragon who will rip opponents to bit. He's a wizard as well, so you get everything you could want for him. Yeah, he used to be... they already mentioned... They said somewhere here that he's Greater Demon of Tzeentch, right? Yeah, there we go. So he used to be like a level 4 wizard as well as a dragon, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, there we go. Coming back in metal. That's what it said, didn't it? Where is it? I'm sure it said that something. Yeah, coming back in metal for anyone who missed out. Now, I've got my one to build at some point, and I don't know how much I'm looking forward to it. This rock and body section here is one piece, if I recall, but the heads are separate. I mean, look at that one, just like drooping down. That's going to need lots of big old pins. What I should do at some point is probably build him and do a video showing how to pin him. Who knows? We'll have to see. It depends. I've got so much other stuff to do, and like loads of the rest of the Chaos Army to do rather than Golroch. But it might be quite a useful video, since if he's coming back in metal, yeah, that will need lots of good pinning to keep him together. Who knows? We'll see. Well, yeah, see what happens when we get there. All right, the new character. Friedel the Chainmaker is the epitome of Norscan who feels the lure, turns to chaos, and sets out on the path to glory. She travels north, battles other chaos companions in the northern wastes, and returns to Norsca, infused with the power of chaos. She's a champion of chaos undivided, not sworn to any one god. Every time I see the path to glory, I just think of the old Warband game. Yeah, it'd be cool if they brought that out. They could bring it back out in White Dwarf. In fact, yes, that's right. It was a series of White Dwarf articles initially before they compiled it into the booklet. Yeah, I mean they could do the same thing again. The old rules basically are fine because it doesn't use points in the same sort of way. You could probably more or less use the old Path to Glory Warband rules as is in Old World without any tweaking, because I don't think so. It didn't have the stats of anything on it. It just basically you rolled up your warband and you had it was just a bunch of tables for seeing what followers you gained, and then you'd have to look in your rule books to find out all their stats and stuff. So there's no reason you couldn't just use that anyway. So there we go. If you can get your hands on it, do it. Worth it. Okay, Danny. In game, she's very much between an Exalted Champion and Chaos Lord in power. She's a prolific fighter who buffs some of your mortal units like Marauders and Marauder Horsemen, as well as the additional units featured in one of the 2 armies of infamy, the Wolves of the Sea. I wonder what they are. I wonder if they're a normal unit or a mercenary unit. Yeah, who knows? Find out. That's cool to have. This gives a reason to take a Marauder army, so that's very cool. Friedel is the inspiration for this force. She's a raider at heart who descends from the north aboard a fleet of wolf ships to prowl the coasts of the realms of man, pillaging and spreading the corruption of chaos wherever she goes. Note that while she's powerful and central to the story we're telling, she's not one of the great champions of her age. She's a harbinger of what the future could hold if the people of the Empire remain ineffective in defense of their borders. That's really interesting. So she is central to the story that's being told, but not one of the great champions. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, very cool. Alright, I would imagine they are bringing a model out for her at some point. I can't remember if... I feel like they said she wasn't coming out straight away. JTY. She's significant insofar as she heralds worse things to come. She's important in her own right, but it's fair to say that most Chaos Champions who don't go on to become Great Lords or ascend to Demonhood are heralding something else. This is a thread that runs through Chaos in general. One champion always presages the next big thing. They're damned by their own decisions. These champions willingly become slaves to darkness in the pursuit of glory, but the big joke that's always played on them is that the glory is someone else's. She's got a miniature coming, and she looks really good. Okay, very cool. We'll just have to wait and see when that comes out. They haven't showed her yet. We've seen a couple of previews, but she's not been in it. The narrative that unfolds around her starts with her ships raiding Hollum in the northern coast of the Empire, in the Wasteland. The campaign map should give you a sign of things to come. Over a period of years, she carves out her own little fiefdom near Marienburg, which is still part of the Empire at this juncture, and one of the major claimants to the throne. In fact, Empress Margritta has one of the more legitimate claims of the 4 candidates. So, there we go. Let's have a look, see what we got down here. Yeah, so this is Chaos territory in this setting or this time period of the Old World. Yeah, very cool. What are these? These are, I guess, this is her advance, if you like, and this is the Empire pushing back. Yeah, and scope for the Bretonnians to get involved too, and Orcs as well. And I would imagine there's dwarves around here somewhere as well. Wood elves, beastmen. Oh yeah, so have we got everything. Like high elves are probably literally just around here. High elves, Bretonnians, orcs and goblins, dwarves, Empire, chaos, beastmen, wood elves. Are we missing anything? Was that everything? Oh, Khemri. There's no like Khemri pyramid. Wait, is the wilderness? Who knows? Maybe there's a Khemri, an ancient Khemrian place in the cursed marshes or something. Is that anyone else? I'm just racking my brains now. Khemri, Beastmen, Chaos, Orcs and Goblins, that's the 4 bad guys. Bretonnia, Empire, High Elves, Wood Elves, and Dwarves. Yeah, so it's just Khemri who might struggle to get in on the action here. But who knows? Maybe, like I say, there is like an old from millennia past where the Khemri once claimed all of the known world. Maybe they've got some sort of holding here in the wasteland. We'll find out, I guess. Okay, Danny. As the raiding continues, the more the power of chaos grows. Beastmen appearing in the woods. They're building dark monuments and drawing dark magics to the region. Corruption is seeping in. In this scenario, we see the first structured response from the Empire to the increase in Norscan raids. Over winter, Magritta amassed an army of sellswords to bulk up her own standing army, keeping them fed and trained. She's marched them north with the coming of spring in the knowledge that the Norscans will be straight on their wolf ships as soon as the Sea of Claws thaws, ready for another season of raiding. The hope is that an army will be waiting to meet Friedel as she lands. But unfortunately for the Empire, Friedel braved the end of the winter and got there early. She's lying in wait, and the Imperial army is now looking less well dug than they might have been. This is the first real proper battle between the two forces of this era. It will be cool to get a campaign book that covers this, or at least some sort of campaign series in White Dwarf following it along. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. So yeah, there we go. JTY. Do the Norscans gain a foothold and establish an enclave, or will they be driven off the mainland and forced back into opportunistic seasonal raiding? Danny, we don't show what happens. The last narrative moment is Friedel bowing before the monument in Holum, asking the gods to watch as she demolishes this Empire army in their name. We'd actually very much enjoy it if people emailed the results of this battle. We'd love to know how it happened on your tabletop. Interesting. But we don't have Friedel yet, do we? Yeah, interesting. Okay. Cool. Alright. JTY, we plan to keep making arcane journals. They'll allow us to tell stories that progress over time, which is a change in how we do things at Warhammer. Previously, we'd release a big book telling a grand story, and then leave it at that until the next edition. Arcane journals give us the change in perspective to tell smaller stories, which we have the option to revisit later on. We've already talked about the war in the Border Princes and the reclamation of Khazad Vosk, for instance. That's true. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So does this mean the arcane journals will replace the classic supplement campaign books that we had in the past? Maybe that's the new way of doing it. Yeah, we'll have to see. Danny, we've got a huge sandbox to play in, so we won't just concentrate on the lead up to Prague. These smaller books are a liberating, creative process. We can dive into a story and then press pause on it. The scenarios are left open-ended so players can imagine the results for themselves. Friedel might utterly defeat the Empire force sent to kill her, or she could be sent packing back to Norska. We will likely see more of Friedel as the timeline progresses. She's arrived upon the shores of the Empire and intends to stay. She has a base of operations in the ruins of Holum. She has erected a monument to the gods. Arnau has already been sacked, so raiding parties could cross the river. The story will continue for years. Let's have a look. Arnau. Oh, yeah, there we go. Holum. So she's claimed Holum and sacked Arnau. I assume that's how you say it. That's how I'm saying it now. Arnau. Yeah. Okay. So I'm still not sure whether they're saying the arcane journals each tell a bit of a story. So the Chaos one is telling this Friedel story, which has this. The Dwarf one was telling the Khazad Vosk story. The Bretonnian one tells the Border Princes story, etc. And so as they make an arcane journal for each faction, they'll introduce a bit of storyline. And so that will continue as they bring out Empire and High Elves and Wood Elves and Beastmen, and then maybe as they bring out new forces like Kislev and Chaos Dwarves and whoever else they decide to bring in. I wonder if that's what they're saying, rather than there'll be arcane journals that aren't tied to a particular race. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll be taking a closer look at both new armies of infamy tomorrow, and at the rest of the rules for Warriors of Chaos. There we go. This is like an onslaught that just keeps coming. So day after day, we're getting more and more information. That's very cool. It's good to have so much information about what's going on. So yeah, there we go. We'll have to enjoy it while it lasts, 'cause I'm sure we'll get another dead period. If you've seen the roadmap that came out from the Nova Open, whether that's watching my video or looking at the previous article, Empire doesn't come out until next year, so that's 2025, early next year. They are the next army coming out. And what are we now? We are August now, almost September. So that's like, it's going to be like 4 months, or at least 4 months before Empire come out. So this is probably the storm before the calm. How about that? Where we get a whole bunch of old world stuff, and then we'll have to wait again, like we did for Dwarves, a little bit of a dry season. But that's all right, because I mean, Dwarves aren't fully out yet. There's still some more stuff to come. We've got the Chaos release. When is it? Pre-order going out this weekend. But there'll be a couple of waves of that, so that'll tide us over a month or so, and then who knows what will come out for Christmas. But yeah, there we go. All right, very interesting, very cool to have a narrative to follow along, and this is the start of the Chaos campaign that we'll no doubt follow for this edition of Old World. But yeah, there we go. Cool. All right, interesting stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching. Catch you again in the next video.